Welcome to the Conquer Your Mountains Week 27 podcast titled Bouncing Back Part 2, Rolling with the Punches.
If you are following the Conquer Your Mountains reading plan, you are in week 27 that is the name Ezekiel, Let Me Not Be Found Wanting.
My name is Amanda De Witt and I am the Senior Editor at LUCA, the faith and inspiration imprint of Penguin Random House South Africa.
And I am Mandla Moyo, the author of an inspirational book called Conquer Your Mountains, as well as a science fiction book called The Fallen Angel.
Mandla, we are continuing the theme of resilience from the last episode. So as we continue this discussion about the art of bouncing back, tell me about rolling with the punches. What does it feel like to roll with the punches?
Yeah, thanks, Amanda. So in our last episode, we concluded that faith provides hope, resilience, and a sense of purpose, even when our choices seem unwise. But what if you get to that stage where you have no more hope and resilience in your tank? And that got me thinking about the theme of being able to roll with the punches, because sometimes you can be pressed in from every side, hit from so many angles. You're like a boxer in the ring and you've got 2 minutes left in the round. You don't seem to have any punches left and you're just taking hit after hit. And that's the theme for today's episode about what do we do when we are in that season of life where we are rolling with punches and where trouble seems to come from 7 directions all at once. How do we cope?
So how can listeners cultivate resilience in their own lives?
Yeah, so using the theme of rolling with the punches, typically you try and move your body away from your opponent's blows to lessen the impact. You might tighten your abs as well so you can better absorb what's coming at you. And from a life perspective, mindset, if your mindset accepts that you're in the situation now and you can't change it quickly, it might be a long round of blows that you need to take. How can you be stronger? How can you toughen up? How can you bounce back effectively? Ultimately, for me, it's about your attitude. It's an attitude that is not, I'm feeling sorry for myself and I'm paralyzed. I don't know what to do. But an attitude that says, I'm here now. I didn't want to be here now, but I'm here now. I just need to move forward and face what I need to face with courage and boldness.
So how can listeners cultivate resilience in their own lives?
It requires self-care, and the aspects of that include your well-being in all aspects. There's a physical part of it, because typically if you're rolling with the punches, you might be losing sleep. And your self-care might start with firstly resting to be able to face whatever it is you're facing. So rest and strengthen yourself. You could be taking time to recuperate, go on holiday if that's possible, do what you can to recharge. But once you've recharged, you then need to make sure that your emotional well-being is ready for what life throws at you. So it's about the habits that you know are good for your mental and emotional well-being that will keep you prepared for tough seasons in life.
So it's going back to basics with those kind of things. How do you maintain a positive mindset when facing obstacles?
It's not by accident. To stay positive, you need to decide that you are going to be positive. And I typically start by process of reframing. And when I say reframing, people always talk about the glass half full, the glass half empty. And what you're saying to yourself is, okay, I am drained. Is my tank half full or half empty? And can I reframe it to be half full? Perhaps I've lost out on an opportunity. But maybe that's a stepping stone. Maybe I'll be better for the next opportunity. I'll be better prepared. So it's about looking at the situation from a totally different perspective and just trying to see that there is a light at the end of that tunnel. I listened to an interesting podcast last week where someone was saying sometimes when you are in trouble, you want to be taken out of the situation. But sometimes the prayer that you need to make is to rather stay in the situation and rather see what life lessons that process has for you, because it's not always that you can be taken out of a situation, but sometimes there's journey of strengthening that you can look at more positively. And that links in with an attitude of gratitude. It's not always easy to live a life of gratitude, but you might find that even when you are rolling with those punches, there are some things that you can still be grateful for. You still have friends that understand you. You still have family. You still have great work colleagues that are in this journey with you, despite its difficulties. You still have a roof over your head. So just be grateful and use that to change your mindset to be eternally optimistic, but not optimistic in a way that you are ignoring the realities of the situation, but you're accepting the realities of the situation and focusing on the good that may come out of it.
That makes so much sense. That bit that you told us about reframing, that kind of reminded me of the quote by Wayne Dyer, who said, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So that was quite an important lesson that I learned regarding reframing and your perspective on things and whether the glass is half full or half empty. Would you say, are those the main ingredients for staying resilient?
Those are the important ones that I've observed. I just want to add two more. The other two are persistence and positive self-talk.
Mm-hmm.
The importance of persistence, basically what persistence means is even if you can't see the solution, you keep going. You are hopeful that there will be a positive outcome, but you're also aware that you are in a very long journey and you just need to show up for that day, show up for that hour when you are needed to show up, and just be hopeful that as long as you keep on doing the right thing, eventually the right outcomes are going to come, even though you can't quite see yet where they will come from. It's really about just showing up for what you need to show up for. And that links to positive self-talk. Words have got so much power, the words that you say over other people, but the words that you say over yourself, very powerful. If you keep repeating words of defeat, your brain will internalize that. And I remember, Amanda, we discussed last week about how if you keep repeating negative words, your brain locks into all those negative words.
Yes, definitely.
And I took a lot out of that discussion in that you need to apply positive words into your own life. Otherwise, you're putting yourself at a further disadvantage.
Could you give us some examples of how you practice positive self-talk with yourself?
When I'm doing an endurance event, I do practice positive self-talk.
Like one of your marathons?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't talk loudly, otherwise people will stop me and think I'm crazy.
The positive self-talk doesn't have to be verbal. It can just be mental as well.
It is mental, and I find that in an extreme, or not extreme, but in a long event, I most need the self-talk when I'm in the middle. So when you start something, you're still fresh. There's lots of people around you. You've got excitement. about what you're starting. And then when you're in the last mile, you're also energized because you're like, it's nearly over. But it's in the middle of the situation where the beginning is a distant memory and the ending is looking like it will never come. That's where you need the positive self-talk. You can prepare it in advance for that time that you know is coming. Or you can look around you and look around your surroundings and start to see what can give you inspiration to be positive.
That's really great. Thank you so much. Do you have examples of challenging journeys that require this ability to take hits after hits, like staying resilient and how to roll with the punches?
For me, the journey of writing a book and putting that into the market, that can be challenging because I've found that I'm putting myself out there, hoping for a certain result, but because the result takes a long time to come, found that I've had to dig into my internal mental resources. And those resources are not so much financial resources or time resources, because those are things that you can make, but more the internal mental space that says, this is a journey that I've started. These are the reasons why I'm doing it. I believe in those reasons still. I think I can still do it. And I'm going to persist. And if one way doesn't work, find another way and always be searching for alternative solutions. Yeah, so I'd say the journey of being an author, and I think many authors have got the same experience. You do need to be patient, and if you've got a set of routines that you need to do for writing your book, that book might take you years to finish in some cases. My first book took over a decade, but eventually when I made it, I was energized because I had stuck through, even though that thing seemed so far.
So staying resilient and rolling with the punches, that very much equates to not being defeated by temporary like problems or setbacks, and just staying on point regarding your goal and your focus, keeping it sharp. And I would also say maybe celebrating the small victories in between. So you're working towards a big goal, like you with marathon running, thinking about every kilometer, like thinking, yes, it's another one done. So celebrating the small victories, I think, would be important too, to just keep up your morale and see that you are making progress.
Yes, and Amanda, the key word that you mentioned there, I like is the word temporary, because often when we are in a situation, we forget that word temporary.
Absolutely.
And when you face a mountain, the mountain looks permanent, that it's blocking your way. But you forget that it's temporary from the perspective that you can go up it or around it. It doesn't have to block you forever. It's
Absolutely.
passing.
Definitely. So talking about mountains, do you have some encouragement for us today from your book, Conquer Your Mountains, regarding this?
Yes. So the week 27 reflection says, whatever door you open shall be indeed open, and whatever door you shut shall be closed. God is reassuring you that though the journey seems long, see it as a good journey, for you will get it.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mandla.
Thanks, Amanda, and see you soon.